Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have all of you here. It's wonderful to see convening live and seeing so many familiar faces and also new friends of Extreme Tech Challenge. So a warm welcome to our event today. Today is really a celebration of innovation, entrepreneurship, and the power of this amazing community that continues to support and find amazing entrepreneurs that are doing great things to build a better world that we live in, but also have the potential to become big businesses. So super passionate about our mission. Woohoo, a round of applause for the mission. We last met in June of last year. So over the past 12 months, really executing on a theme of scaling. And we have grown and expanded tremendously over the past 12 months. Now, for all of you who've been with Extreme Tech Challenge for years and years, we've moved away from having one global finals to now we partner with over 20 leading tech conferences globally, from Singapore to Copenhagen to Berlin to South Africa to Israel. It's really been amazing to see our partnership have grown, and that also have created better visibility to the founders that we support. And this also means that we've doubled the number of partners and judges and mentors that have been involved in our operation. And we believe in smart judges and smart investors continue to pick the right companies that can make a big impact. As an example of that, the recent cohort of Extreme Tech Challenge have raised over $4 billion in VC funding as of this year, and that's no small feat. Consider most of them are pre-Series A, seed, pre-seed companies. So I think that's a real testament to the power of this community to help find and support and help these companies to scale. So that's really amazing. Woo! And also, we did something really fun this year. Well, actually, everything we do is really fun. But the really fun thing is our friends at EST Media made a mini documentary about our founders, Young and Bill's journey in building Extreme Tech Challenge. So hopefully that'll position ourselves to more stories in a global platform that help to inspire the next generations of builders to do the work that they do. So check us out, head out to our website and you'll see our documentary. So really, it's the power of this community that makes everything happen. So just to bring you up to speed, here's a quick video on how we got here.
So Extreme Tech Challenge that, as you know, that I found with Bill Tai 11 years ago is all about communicating successful entrepreneurs that are making impact.
I am extraordinarily impressed with this program. The Extreme Tech Challenge is an outstanding program for entrepreneurs around the world, and I was incredibly impressed with the energy and passion and overall quality of the companies and entrepreneurs I had a chance to meet.
So if you're a founder of a startup, you want to make a real impact and you want to go global, then the best platform you can choose is Extreme Tech Challenge.
Young and Bill's vision, capitalizing the startup community, is truly being realized through the XTC competition.
One of the things that we clearly saw in our community was a group of entrepreneurs, energetic, passionate, people that could handle a lot of variability and defeat every day and just keep going.
And to Bill's words, let's keep going. So let me invite young Bill up here to say a few words. Round of applause. Can we get another microphone, please?
You can just pass it back and forth.
Oh, no. Here's another mic. Here. No, one's coming.
Here.
It's working. Great. Well, let's give a big applause to Victoria, who has never tiring energy there. So when I met Victoria, she was at UC California Innovation Center. And she's come to my conference. It's called Samsung CEO Summit. And then, I noticed that some of our events that we were working on, she was communicating so much better than I could. Yeah, I said, we need to hire this woman to our team. And she really changed the whole equation. But Bill, let's start with how it began.
Well, yeah, so I want to thank Young as well. I think, I'm so honored whenever I see the group come together like this, because a long time ago, this contest started on a kiteboarding trip. And I literally, the predecessor contest, I had a group of entrepreneurs with a bunch of tech people from the Valley, kiteboarding in Perth, Australia. And it was the time when there were kind of one-person startups happening. The guys like Mark Zuckerberg were starting companies in a dorm room. And the kids that I saw, I thought to myself, somebody's going to go back to the dorm room and code something up. Maybe I should find out who that person is. Interestingly enough, Melanie Perkins was in that first group that approached the people judging that were there at Kiteboard. That contest kind of evolved over the years to become something called the Extreme Tech Challenge. Young, while he was at Samsung, helped me fund the first real iteration of that. You remember what year that was?
2012 or something.
Yeah, so it was a while ago, but we kind of grew that into something where we had a presence at CES, again, thanks to Young. Richard Branson was part of our judging group in the finals that year. And it's just continued to grow and grow with Young's support. So thank you, Young, and thank you, Victoria, for taking it to where it is today.
I tell you, Bill has been, for me, the way I met Bill was I love kite surfing. And I just want to hang out. And I realized the side benefit of hanging out with the chill, entrepreneurs and kite surfers in Hawaii. It turned out they're also great entrepreneurs. I mean, we met Canva CEO, founder of Canva, Ring.com, and so many very interesting folks. And I learned that Bill is a true, network builder. You're just a people person that connects dots. And somehow it's not very structured because you have to worry about how do I get my food, how to get my drinks at this event. But somehow
just had my dinner in 5 minutes here, so thank you, Victoria.
But somehow, there is a benefit of connecting people, and it's a power of that ability to entrepreneurs and bring that energy out and helping people, right? We really do get involved with the people that we like and enjoy helping entrepreneurs. And I think that is the genesis of really XTC. And at some point we said, let's move this energy to something good and something good that we can make an impact. And that energy was really kind of endorsed by UN 17 Sustainability. So in Korea, 2018, at the time, Ban Ki-moon, the UN former Secretary General, endorsed our programs as a part of programs to really launch something bigger. And then Victoria came in and she just scaled it. So thank you, Victoria.
And I'll just add that, now that the community is strong and very global, and I don't know how many of you use Zoom. I presume many of you have tried it, but that product was actually launched at one of our community gatherings on Necker Island. So we didn't have a lot of traction at that time. I think that was 2012, and we only had 60,000 downloads, but that was the first place we really tested it. So maybe some of you will have products that we test at some of our gatherings here too. And who knows, maybe it'll scale like that. And
this was also really interesting because how we play with these things, and then we decided to become an investor, right? And turned out to be a terrific tools to have during pandemic, made a huge impact in people, helping people to get connected, but also turned out to be a great investment. So I'm hoping what we are trying to do is something good that can make an impact, but also it can benefit all of us by building a community that are pushing the technology for better. And that is, I think, the purpose behind what we're trying to do, the Extreme Tech Challenge. And now it's truly global. I mean, we have our team from Japan, IT firm, they run it. We don't have to do much. I just self-run, and then they bring the best of the talent that are out there. And then every year, like last year with the TechCrunch banner with the Bill Gates, where there's a keynote, and then being able to do a boot camps and training them and networking with them, and then encourage them to do something better. Alex Virgo, he's my kitesurfing buddy in Hawaii, and poor Alex, he's Norwegian. And Alex, he's working for Norway Innovation Center. Why don't you
Out
do
of Santa
something?
Cruz.
Out of Santa Cruz
Yes,
now.
yes.
But Alex goes, I don't know anything about this thing, but I made him to run Norway event, and now it turned out to be a really good event. And I don't know, I just am very happy that Norway can participate and really doing something about, particularly around the ocean and the water, and something that really matters. And it turned out to be a very important part of our ecosystem. So this is how it began, it's through people. And we try and empower, typically starts with friends, right?
Yeah,
And then kind of
yeah.
expands.
I'll also say that it's obviously a very international audience here. And a long time ago, when I first started in the tech business, I was at a company called LSI Logic. And one of our board, we had two amazing board members. One was Tom Perkins that started Kleiner Perkins, and the other was Don Valentine that started Sequoia. And when I got into the venture business, Don used to say, never fund anything more than an hour from your office, because all the action was here. And it was a waste of time to do anything overseas. And that turned out to be wrong. So over the years, it's obviously, actually, I think an inflection point was probably, 10 years ago or so. But I think over the years, it's become more viable, obviously, for companies to be started overseas. Sometimes it's easier to scale them here, but all of you have a chance now to participate in the same way that any local entrepreneur in Silicon Valley does, because the advantages are not as big as they used to be. So I think part of what we have is a human fabric that allows people that are like you to plug right in and to hit the same people that fund the companies here and have access to the same resources and the networks that have been built around that cluster that started over here in Silicon Valley. So take advantage of it.
Great example, Melanie Perkins, right?
Yep.
Out of Perth, Australia. Not known as a
Only 1.5 million people in the whole, in that city, in the western 40% of Australia, and very isolated. But that company is now, it's world dominating in its field. It's all
Great.
possible.
So Victoria, thank you for organizing. And
Thank you. Thank you, Young and Bill. And it's always, I've heard this story many times now, but it always amazes me to hear about the genesis of XTC and the companies, iconic companies that were born out of this community. So thank you, Young and Bill. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your support. And also thank you for your trust in me being in a position to continue driving this forward. So round of applause for Young and Bill. I also want to take this opportunity to thank our board members joining Young and Bill, Lars Rigger, CTO of NXP Semiconductor, as well as Catherine Bischoff, who is a CEO of Sovereign Nature, for their guidance and support, encouragement, particularly their sort of boots on the ground work to help us spread to different parts of the world. I also want to thank my amazing team, because going from one global finals to now over 20 events, it's no small feat while not growing headcount. So I'd like to really extend my thanks to John Martin. Let's wave, come up and say hi, wave, Shale, Rajan, and Nancy Yuen in doing all the great work. Come up, come up, come up quickly. And it's amazing, because I'm sure you receive emails from Shale and Nancy, and so it's great. I want to make sure that you put a face to the name, and I just want to thank you, because I couldn't possibly achieve this without their help, because this is absolutely a team sport. So thank you so much. And also, I want to thank my amazing marketing team, because the power of storytelling, doing the good work, but also having the right platform and messaging to help us do that. So the amazing team at Beep, who's been with the Extreme Tech Challenge since the beginning, and Bill, thanks for bringing them back, and also our new member, Cheryl, who drives Marcom. So a round of applause for my marketing team. Thank you so much. And also, I want to give a special shout out to my predecessors running Extreme Tech Challenge, Barrett Parkman and Rajiv Rajan. And I'm so fortunate to be in a position to build on the great work, the great foundation you've laid for XTC. So they're not here today, but they're going to be watching this video. So I want to thank Barrett and Rajiv for doing the great work that they did to work on XTC 2.0. Thank you so much. And all of you here, our friends, our colleagues, I'm very grateful for your engagement and support. And for the new folks out here, we're inviting you here today because we want you to be engaged in our community as judges, evaluators, speakers, mentors. I'm so fortunate for your partnership. And also, I'm very grateful for all the wonderful friendships I've made along the way. So thank you so much for being here. It's great to be here, and we're having a lot of fun. So with that, I want to now dive into our next portion of the program. I'm so privileged to be sitting down with two legendary deep tech investors who need no introduction to help us look around the corner of the state of deep tech, particularly focus on AI and data, and share with us their thoughts on opportunities and what really excite them. So welcome to the stage, Sohn and Lip-Bu Tan. Can we, oh, yeah. Oh, is this live? Yeah, I'll do this.
So you were like right here.
Oh.
That's easier.
Yeah. Hello?
This will be better.
This will be better.
This has better audio.
Great, thank you so much. Hello, am I on? Okay, we're in business. So thank you so much, Young and Lip-Bu, for joining me today. It's so delighted to have you here. So I'm going to start with Lip-Bu. There's a lot going on in the state of deep tech. And so could you help us set the scene and what's going on in macro?
Sure. First of all, I think thank you for organizing this event. It's amazing. You see a lot of new friends and old friends. And thanks to Silicon Valley Bank, a sponsor on this one. So I think, and I'll answer your question, I think it's an interesting environment we are in. And depending on who you talk to, I don't think anyone had crystal ball. And so a lot of people are predicting going to be a soft landing. And because US is a very vibrant and resilient economy, even in this challenging environment. And so I think I kind of subscribe to that. The other couple of things that concern me is, the geopolitical situation is a little bit hard to predict. Mm-hmm. And all the major corporations, they spend a lot of time on this geopolitical risk. And then the other part is, there's a big wave of generative AI. Anything that is, if you're in generative AI, with the valuation, it went up, some of the startup, 22 people is over 1 billion, 1.5 billion valuations. So I think that's one area that is very hot. Everybody looking at it. Personally, I view that generative AI is, impact can be as big as internet, but a lot of people rushing in, not everybody going to be successful. Mm-hmm. And then some going to be failed, and some of them going to be successful. So it'll be interesting to see how the people are going to deploy that. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is, with the semiconductor, that I think Bill and Young are very heavily investing in the past in semiconductor. Clearly with the CHIP Act and then the supply chain, there's an emerging of semiconductor investment area. So that's going to be quite exciting. So I think overall I see that it's a very exciting time, but you just have to navigate very carefully. This is a very choppy environment with the election coming. There's a lot of uncertainty, and then the inflation is quite sticky. And I think the Fed is trying to do everything they can to bring the interest rate up and bring the inflation down, but it's very tricky. And then all the energy, supply and going to be, still going to be challenging going forward.
Great. And Young, your thought on this topic, and particularly, what do you think are the leading indicators? Before we get there, just quick check. Can we hear the stage okay? Yeah, good, okay.
So just adding a couple of things on Lip-Bu's comment. I think you've seen 2022 already, the public market had quite a bit of adjustment. SaaS went down. Microphone is turned it on. Okay. Turn it on. Is it good? Okay. Yeah. So you've seen big adjustment 2022, and I think that public market did go adjust, quite a bit of adjustment, but I think that in a way, private market is still in transition. So if you're, and I know many of you are involved with the startups, venture, and I think that I would expect that it'll have a lagging effect. So probably still more to come down before it gets better, which will create some stress on companies that are short on cash, mainly because when the valuation goes down, people are not actually going to put more money in. They're going to be watching because they don't know where the end is. So I think next 12 months is still going to be pretty dicey in my view, although I think Goldman Sachs forecasting maybe recession is more, less likely, around 15% maybe next year, but who knows? But I do think what is clear is that the private side of equation will continue to be challenged, other than few sectors that are very hot, and that would be exceptions, particularly around generative AI and other space. But we are in a long-term company building process. So as long as your companies and you have enough liquidity to go on to about late 2024, 2025, you should be able to sustain. I think that's the key. So at the end of the day, this is a game of going to the next stage so you can be able to then create your value creation. So I think that's one. Indicator, one of the indicators we often use is a semiconductor index. Often semiconductor is about 6 months ahead of the macro. So you can actually see the demand going down first, and then market goes down. When it comes back, usually that's a good indication of the market recovery. But right now, semiconductor is still down or flat, so I don't think economy is overly strong. I think Europe seems to be going through potential recession with Germany leading that. And then I think China doesn't look good. I know there's a lot of indicators to watch, but one of the clear thing that the people talk about is just visitors to China. Typically, they have 400 million visitors and the 100 million a quarter. But actually, I think last quarter, it was less than 5 million. So it went down 95%. Now you could say people are getting cautious, but I think there's a lot of business people also worry about this geotension as well. And just, I also know in every corporate board, they're all thinking about China risk programs. And I know companies are involved. Usually one of the top 3 subjects are how do you get out of China to reduce the risk? And I think it's kind of overly done, but that's what's going on. And that's the reality that we're living with.
And double clicking on that geopolitical landscape, and Lip-Bu, you were actually there for the groundbreaking ceremony, TSMC opening their Arizona plant. And what is your view on this? Obviously, you've been such a leader in the semiconductor industry, and you recently received a Lifetime Recognition Award for your contribution in this space. So help us break it down a little bit and what's going on with semi.
Yeah, I think you can hear me well, right?
Yes.
So I think the supply chain, I think, wake everybody up, and you need to more resilient supply chain. And then many of the advanced semiconductor is manufacturing in TSMC. and there's a significant risk from some of the perceived risks. So a lot of customer and government starting to really want to see make in US, and that's why I think the TSMC, Samsung, and Intel, they're all building up the fab in the US, and then also the packaging. Beside the fab, you need the packaging to make it work. And so I think all in all, I think it's kind of more resilient and less depend on one or two places to get. So I think that's the right move. And of course, the US CHIP Act is very important. And they also formed the National Semiconductor Technology Center to look at 5, 10 years, 15 years, what are the areas that we need to invest, and so that we can continue to leapfrog and against some of the competitors. So I think all in all, I think it's good and healthy approach. And I see that, good to have that balance, because from company point of view, the single point of failure is quite a big risk. And then, so it's something that is good to address that.
Yeah, both TSMC and Samsung announced a big investment. I know Samsung made an investment decision to put plants in Texas. We're talking about not 10 billion or 20 billion. I'm actually talking about $170 billion. So it's a mega scale. And the reason for this is the global risk. And I think you may have read this book called Chip War. And if you look at it, it's kind of a scenario, but what if TSMC got blown up by the escalation between Taiwan and China? The whole world will stop. So, that's just kind of how you kind of wake up call, right? And, if you are politicians in Washington, you look at that thing and goes, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we doing? So encouraging TSMC and Samsung, you got to build a plant in this country to have a national sustainable risk managed programs. So I do know that when Samsung board, when we make a decision to invest here, it's going to be 20% higher cost. But so you don't do it for cost. You do it because it's a global business. And if you look at semiconductor, Silicon came from chips. It is the foundation of where the whole valley is actually set up. And it's most global business there is, right? So you may design, like NVIDIA, you may design in the US, but you may fabricate in Taiwan, and then it may be assembled in Penang, Malaysia. It may be tested in, let's say somewhere, Seoul somewhere, and just highly global, and then distribute to the end market. So if you mess around with one of those chain, it can just change the whole supply chain. And so it is very tight community that was built over the long time. It is a great example of efficiency. It's a great example of global dependency. Now we are in a new era where we have to figure out how to deal with the potential risk. And clearly there will be redundant investment. Clearly there is a inefficiency. But I think the risk versus the sustainability is something that we all have to manage. I do know that a lot of plants in China is also moving out and to other countries like Vietnam, because of the single market dependency. And I think this is the reality that we're living with. And that give you opportunity for some, but for some, I think it's adding huge complexity in supply chain, as Lip-Bu mentioned.
And I want to go to Lip-Bu on this. AI has been around for a long time. In fact, you and Young have both invested in this space for a long time. What do you think are the catalysts that are driving the boom we're seeing in AI right now? It's such an exuberance in the investor community, and you've seen so many startups in this space that have come online over the past year. What do you think is that tipping point?
Yeah, I think as you correctly point out, AI is almost 80 years old, and but what is really happening is the compute power is increasing a lot, and thanks to NVIDIA and AMD and Intel. And then the other part is, the data is massive. And so you have data, you have AI, and that drive a lot of new application, and then drive more efficiency, drive new business model. So I think that's where they're taking off. But AI alone is not enough. And that's why back to this extreme challenge is a startup and of the ecosystem here. There's a lot of more interesting in terms of the foundation technology. And so I still remember 15 years ago, if I go to the top tier venture firm, and when talking about startup in semiconductor, half of the partner walk away. And then the other partner said, well, do you have any software as service company that we should look at? And then now it's changing. So right now I'm talking about people are chasing me, Lip-Bu, the deep tech. What is the next hot thing that, semiconductor I should invest and follow? And so it's a game changing. So sometimes it's good to be a contrarian investing. And then in terms of AI, generative AI, my personal view is that the incumbent will be the biggest winner. And so I think they have the strong, cloud infrastructure, like Microsoft going to be a big winner. And then Google going to be a big winner. But in terms of startup, what I see is that if you can do it more accurately, and you have that domain knowledge to drive the efficiency of application and solution, I think you can wedge in and become a big player. So I think that's kind of my personal view.
Yeah, I think what we look at in terms of opportunity in this space is more of infrastructure. Regardless of what you do, you need more compute. You need a better data storage. You need better efficient movement of data and analytics. So focusing on infrastructure was one of the examples of, I think, how we invest to make sure we understand, we don't discriminate who's going to win. We know AI is big. It's the time that we know the infrastructure have to keep up with it. And this is why NVIDIA is going to win no matter what, because everybody will need that. So the question is, what's next NVIDIA? And what is next the Fabric? And that's probably the kind of things we get excited about. But I think the time where we're trying to say what is the right AI company, it's like 1990s when internet came out. What is the right internet company? Everybody's going to use internet to run their business. And it's the same thing here. Everybody's going to be using AI. So the question is, how well are they using? And how robust are they? And how cost-effective they are, right? If you look at the OpenAI and ChatGPT, it's not that cheap, right? It's very expensive. So you have to figure out how to do the right cost, the right accuracy, and doing it with less data set, because one of the issue is that the more data set you put in doesn't mean it's going to get better outcomes. So you have to figure out the right optimum combination around those. And I think these are the kind of stuff that we look at. And then obviously we like to see number of companies here using the technology, and AI is one of the ways you can make things better, improve the performance, and improve the kind of things that you're working on, so that better weather predictions or better way of defining drug discovery algorithms that can help you to accelerate the potential targets. So these are all great examples of how AI can help. And I think we're in a very exciting time. I don't think AI will go away. I think we're living with AI, just like internet, we're living with it.
Truly a new era, a new wave of tech innovation. So one last question to Lip-Bu in rounding us up. We've seen huge sort of B2C adoption of AI with the success of OpenAI with ChatGPT. What are the magic levers for enterprise adoption?
Yeah, I think B2C is the first wave. And then now I think starting the second wave is the B2B. And then how do you use generative AI to make it more efficient? And then, like, for example, in the content creation, how do you make it more efficient in terms of time and people and also cost? And so if you can drive that first mover advantage, I think that's a huge opportunity in terms of application. And then the other part I kind of more personally engaging is how do you use AI machine learning with the massive patient data that you can have to drive more accurate, I call it personal medicine, and either cancer, tumor, and depressions. And how do you use that to really drive a solution for the patient? And that to me is you need a lot of data to make it accurate. So back to my point, if you can make it more accurate, I wish my doctor use all those data to know how much dosage I should have, and rather than treat me like a guinea pig that, my gut feel, this is the number, and then a lot of time gut feel fail.
And truly, we're this very exciting time, and it's really going back to Extreme Tech Challenge, tech innovations that can help us build a better tomorrow and enhance human and planetary health. So it's been such a treat. Thank you so much, Young. Thank you, Lip-Bu, for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much. Yep. Round of applause. Now, we're going to get to see some startups today. This year, we are so privileged. Samsung has been an early supporter and sponsor of Extreme Tech Challenge. And this year, we deepened that relationship by building a bespoke startup competition focused on climate tech and circular economy for Samsung. So to hear representing Samsung saying a few words about the partnership, please welcome Brandon Kim, who is the Managing Director and Global Head of Samsung Next. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Good evening. This is a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you to the Extreme Tech Challenge team for putting this all together for us. It's been fantastic to see. This challenge was a huge success on all accounts. I think 140 different companies from all around the world presented their ideas to us. So it was a huge success on that. I mean, we saw such a diversity of ideas, everything from carbon capture and storage to materials that were more sustainable, to reducing waste, all kinds of different ideas. And I think it's a testament really to XTC and the reach that XTC has now. I remember when Young, I think it was like when it was 11 years ago, I had just joined Samsung, and Young was talking about XTC and how he had founded it with Bill. And to me, it seemed like a good excuse to kite surfing in Necker Island or something. I should have known like the vision that they had, they would like work to make that happen. And it really has happened. And XTC is now the largest organization, largest competition and ecosystem for companies that really want to do global good and really tackle the global problems that we face today. And sustainability, climate change, those are certainly some of the key challenges that we face as mankind. And so really proud to be a part of what XTC has put together. I'm proud that Samsung has been a part of XTC and a sponsor for the last 4 years. We hope to continue to support that effort and continue to be a part of what XTC has. Really looking forward to working with the companies that XTC has chosen as winners and trying to help bring those ideas and products to market so that those companies can really make a huge impact on the world today. So I know we're going to hear from a number of the winners or the finalists, and I think these are 6 of the most compelling companies that we've seen in this competition. So without further ado, we'll move to that. But thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for supporting XTC and Samsung.
Thank you, Brandon. And we're so privileged to be your partner in this endeavor. So let's flash the logo of these companies presenting today. They're so deserving of this stage and can't wait to put them forward. So first, I'd like to welcome, I think everybody's a winner tonight because you're all deserving of this stage, and we're just so humble to learn about your work. because you're really, truly all winners in your own right, tackling climate change and tackling circular economy, solving those problems from various different aspects. And I also like to recognize and thank everybody who apply, because now you're part of the Extreme Tech Challenge community. You're going to get our newsletters. You're going to get invited to our events. And it's truly this global network that we're so energized about. So here are 6 companies that are presenting today. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Aquasaic to the stage, and the company is using biological solutions to clean up toxic waste. A round of applause.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes? Fantastic. So, thank you all for being here today. I'm very excited to be representing Aquasaic, where we are painting a picture of clean water, if anyone was wondering where our name is coming from. So as we all know, lithium enables our day-to-day lives. We use lithium in our phones, we use lithium in our air conditioners, actually, where lithium is used because of its moisture-sucking capacities. And we're so reliant on this one specific precious metal that we don't even realize how we're going to continue to live should we choose to find a cleaner source for this particular metal. So what we have done at Aquasaic is engineer baker's yeast, the same yeast that are used to bake bread, to eat up different metals, including lithium, and clean up water in the process. So we can see here, given a sample from one of our collaborators and one of our partners, we can clean this wastewater sample from the Canadian Athabasca oil sands with 5 rounds of our yeast treatment, and in the process recover all of the critical minerals and all of the interesting metals to use for downstream purposes. And with the help of you all here, we hope to capture this market that is in the millions and billions. And of course, just a little bit of help from all of you here would be appreciated. My co-founder and I both come from water deserts, and we also both come from places where we didn't realize the value of having these day-to-day resources that we now take for granted. And because of this, we're really looking to combine both of these passions of ours to clean up water as well as to enable daily life for everyone. And with that, we hope you support our mission to clean up water while providing clean metals for all of our downstream uses. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Again, don't be shy to talk to our founders afterwards if you're interested in learning more about their work. Next on stage, I'd love to introduce Belina, who has a filtration device to tackle the microplastic problem in the fashion industry supply chain. Welcome to the stage, Belina.
All right, good evening, everyone. Before I dive in, I wanted to pose a question. What impact do you think the clothing you wear has on your health? Well, let's start with a t-shirt. Today, more than 2/3 of our clothes are made from synthetic plastic fibers. From the very inception to every time we throw them into the wash, they release microplastics. In fact, a single load of laundry can release 700,000 plastic fibers into our wash. These fibers are transported out of our home via wastewater, released into our ecosystem, wreaking havoc on our planet. Much of the seafood that we eat and almost every single water that we drink will contain microplastics. Here at Belina, we're out to solve that. Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm the CEO of Belina, where we're building best-in-class next-gen filtration devices to reduce microplastic pollution in the fashion supply chain. And we're going to have the greatest impact right off the bat with our patent-pending consumer device that attaches to the inside of any household washing machine. You run your laundry as normal, and after about 2 to 3 months of use, once full, the inner filter is replaced with a new one. Belina provides unique value in its high efficiency, cost effectiveness, and accessibility. We have 2 main user personas, the young renter homeowner and the millennial mother. And we've seen really promising traction in both, with rapid growth in our product demo engagement, LOIs from distribution partners, and over 200 waitlisted customers. We're also so excited to announce that we recently signed our first LOI with a corporate partner, Arc'teryx, to use our filters in their repair and service centers. Finally, here at Bellina, we have an all-female founding team of UPenn material science engineers, and we're advised by really incredible scientific thought leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs in the climate tech space. Remember, let's wash our t-shirts, not eat them. Thank you so much for listening. You can sign up for our wait list here.
Thank you. Thank you, Julia, for a great presentation. Now, next on stage, I'd like to welcome Beryl Green, who has the innovative cooling technology. Welcome, Gregory.
Hello. Hello, I'm Greg Stroud. I'm a co-founder of Beryl Green, an elastomeric technology company. The Earth is getting warmer, summers are getting hotter. One of the primary challenges is to stay cool in the summer. As a Special Forces soldier, I deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Philippines numerous times. And one of my daily challenges was keeping me and the team cool. I wish that I had a device that would have blown cold air and kept my body cool while out on these missions. That device doesn't exist, but I'm sure that roofers, people who work on the airport tarmacs, as well as that mother standing out there in the field in the heat, watching her kids play outdoor sports, would love to have a device like this. No more is there, what we don't need is a device that doesn't work, leaves you wet, or uses gimmicky psychological tricks to trick your body into feeling cool. We need a device that can produce cold air. Beryl Green is going to make this a reality. We have figured out a way to use bending metal to generate a cooling effect. This is an example of how we would use a device that would blow cold air on people. This is 2 to 3 times more efficient. It's light enough to be carried or worn, as well as it can operate for hours on a battery. So how do we do this? Bending and unbending shape memory alloys produces these effects. This is some of the temperature ranges that we've been able to influence. On the right, where it's blue within the red, that's the cooling, and it's heating on the other side. This is the team that's going to make it happen. On the left side, you've got the business vision, operations, marketing, and financials. On the right is our technical team. Of note, Darren Sherrar was part of the original team that developed the innovation that makes this technology possible, as well as Dan Levick, who has over a decade in thermal design and bringing products into design. What we're looking for is partners and $2 million in funding to bring this device to life. While this is just our first application, our technology, it can be used across the board in numerous applications, dual-use products. So join us on an exciting journey to revolutionize cooling.
Thank you, Gregory, for that presentation. Great, thank you. And next, someone calling?
Yeah, sometimes you got to phone a friend.
Sometimes you have to phone a friend for an answer. So we're moving onward. Our next presenter is from Blip Energy, who works on energy storage for homes on the smart grid. Come on up. Welcome.
I need that little clicker though. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Chance Cobb, founder of Blip Energy. Over the past 3 years, the U.S. power grid has experienced the most outages in its history. Existing energy storage solutions are insufficient, prohibitively expensive, with permitting and installation barriers. U.S. households need power security, but grid operators also need additional resources to maintain grid reliability. Blip unlocks energy equity by solving for accessibility. Affordable smart home energy storage designed for any household. This drop-in solution allows underserved communities the ability to participate in smart energy management, resiliency, and arbitrage bill savings. By designing a product that can go to any home, we are unlocking a network effect for grid operators. 84% of Americans are concerned with grid resiliency. 61% want home backup power, but only 15% currently have a home backup power solution. And Blip's pathway to scale is to service this delta between the haves and the have-nots. By adding millions of untapped homes to the smart grid network, we create a network value of grid services to support demand, to reduce demand volatility, reduce generation emissions, and prevent rolling outages. Blip has unlocked affordability, reducing hardware costs by 70% by using business model innovation and Second Life cells. Through Second Life cells, we are bolstering the lithium circularity and supporting to build a US domestic battery supply chain. With these accomplishments, we believe we can create a better, smarter grid for us all, and we hope you'll join us in this goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Chance. Thank you from Blip Energy. Thank you so much. And our next presenter is from Cambridge. Cambridge has a unique solid state cooling technology. Welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me here today. My name is Neil Wilson, and I am the CEO of Cambridge. At Cambridge, we are developing magnetic cooling. It's a solid-state, sustainable cooling technology. The International Energy Agency has a plan for net zero. It requires many gigatons of CO2 equivalent to be removed from refrigeration and cooling, but current cooling technology cannot deliver. So at Cambridge, we developed our magnetic cooling system. It's completely different. We use magnets and magnetic alloys. And this system has many, many special features. 3 of which, though, are energy efficiency, no refrigerant gases, and circular recyclability. For our customers, this means we can cut carbon, lower costs, and enable better cooling appliances. Technology is applicable to a wide range of markets, and we believe our total addressable market is in the 40 to 80 billion range. But where to start? Well, we're focusing on beverage cooling. This is an $8 billion market segment. And in this segment, we are helping large beverage companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Heineken, Carlsberg cut their global carbon footprint. Up to 30% of their total CO2 emissions are associated with point-of-sale cooling. So at Cambridge, we completed our MVP at the end of last year, which was functionally complete. And now we're working on our first physical application of a commercial product, integrating our unit into a Red Bull fridge made by a major Italian OEM. The impact of our technology is clear. A 1 kilowatt chiller will have a payback period of 1.25 years. Thereafter, save 500 pounds per year, and each and every year save 220 kilograms of CO2 emissions. As a result, we've been shortlisted by 17 of the world's beverage companies in the final of the Cooler of the Future competition, which will be held next month in Belgium at Stella Artois Brewery. The key really has been the team. It's been a long journey to get to this point. And the same core team has been in place for the entire period, showing passion and commitment. I'd like to thank the team very much for getting to this point. Anyway, thank you for listening. Join the cooling revolution. Cambridge is open to collaboration and, of course, is looking for new investment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil from Cambridge. Thank you for your presentation. And then the last presenter today, let's welcome the team from River Otter Renewables that's turning waste into renewable fuel. Please take the stage. Round of welcome.
Thank you. I feel like this whole meeting has been people getting clean. Well, right now we're going to get dirty. So River Otter Renewables fulfills 3 of the UN Sustainability Goals: reduce waste, produce renewable fuels, and clean water. How do we do this? We turn waste into fuels. Specifically, we duplicate and accelerate the natural process that produces fossil fuels underground, except instead of taking a couple million years, we can go from waste to crude oil in about 45 minutes. Now, I'm holding something in my hand that I want to describe to you because I'm pretty sure you can't see it very well, but this is a clear glass vial full of black liquid. This is part of the first batch of crude oil created by River Otter Renewables. Our technology works, and it works today. Now, a fun side effect of our process that we discovered a couple months ago is that it also destroys PFAS chemicals. We do not filter them. We do not concentrate them. We destroy them. Huh? Now, your exposure to PFAS chemicals, cancer-causing toxic forever chemicals, is probably not from firefighting equipment. It is from the couches that you're sitting on, the industrial floor that I'm walking on, your shampoos, and a whole bunch of candy wrappers. All of these wastes come into our waste streams, go through wastewater treatment facilities that have currently no way to handle these waste streams, go back into our water and back into our food and our bodies. River Otter Renewables has the potential to break the PFAS chemical cycle at wastewater treatment facilities. This is a $25 billion opportunity in the United States alone. We are also the only solution right now that can handle wet waste, which, seeing as sewage is 99% water, is an important competitive advantage. Our goal is to replace antiquated technology in wastewater treatment facilities with river otter reactors, taking waste that was intended for landfills and instead turning them into renewable fuels and cleaning PFAS chemicals out of water. The founding team is myself, Amelia Thomas, as CEO, and my partner, Professor Michael Timko of Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Together, we are looking to reduce waste, produce renewable fuels, and clean water. We're seeking additional investors for our syndicate, as well as partnerships for our first Roar construction. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause for Amelia. And also a round of applause to all the founders that presented today. You'll notice that we're all color-coded. So all the startups have a blue dot, investors green dot, and ecosystem builders with a yellow dot. So make sure you mingle and chat and get to know their innovation. So of course, it is still a competition, so there will be a winner. Let me bring Brandon up here to say a few words about, without announcing the winner, because we have a check for that. But talk a little bit about the rationale that went into selecting it.
Yeah, thank you. As you can tell, there were lots of compelling ideas and startups and incredible entrepreneurs. I was really glad to see the range of entrepreneurs and ideas that we had at the challenge. I think the two things that stood out for the judging panel in selecting the winner was one, the technical innovation and the early traction that the technology had with partners. And that was an indication, not only was the technology interesting, but also practical, feasible, implementable. And so that was one. The other thing was, I think the judges were really looking for potential. What kind of impact could that technology have worldwide? And that's one of the things that we're looking for here is again, potential for impact and practical applicability. And I think those were the two things that that really went into making the decision. And for the judges, wish they could choose more than one, but we had to come up with one winner. It was a hard job, but they picked one.
Well, the winner is going to be announced here, but also the winners and maybe the finalists will also have visibility at the Samsung booth during CES in January. So I think it's an amazing platform, amazing opportunity to really showcase the work. So thank you again to Brandon. Thank you for the Samsung team in making this happen. Now I'd like to invite my colleague John to come out and bring out the check for the announcement. Brandon, don't leave yet. Young and Bill, I'm going to invite you back up here. And to help announce the winner, Brandon will be in the middle, Young and Bill, and I'll be on the side. You'll be here. You'll be here. Yeah. We're well positioned for that photo. Can we scoot down a little bit? Okay. Brandon, will you do us the honor?
And the winner is Cambridge.
Congratulations, Neil.
Thank you.
We're going to do a couple of photos. You should be in the middle. Yeah.
Yes, great.
Yeah. So we're going to.
Are you from Cambridge or? Yes.
Really?
I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and
I also like to invite all the finalists who pitched today. You're so deserving of the stage to come up for a group photo. I also want to invite our special guest Lip-Bu to come up and join us as well for the photos. So should we step forward? How does it work? Okay. We should have 2 layers of people. Thank you so much. Hello, am I live? I'm not on. Thank you so much. Enjoy Mango.